Yes, ma'am. Roll number 61.
So should I start with you?
Yes, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. Myself, Mrs. Rajbot Sangamitra Shambhudev, working as an assistant professor in Khasdar, Sri Govindradik Law College, Sri Rampur. Here, it's a great honor to read the biodata of Dr. G.D. Khedkar sir, who is a distinguished scientist and academician. Dr. G.D. Khedkar sir has been a profession for the past 24 years. He completed his postdoctoral research at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Israel in the year 2007-9 and John A. Burns School of Medicine, University of Hawaii, Honolulu, USA in the year 2012 to 14. In 2020, in 2025, IIT Roper assigned him as an adjunct faculty. So different awards and recognition which has been given to sir, that he is the recipient of the several prestigious fellowships and awards, including the Voice Cast Fellowship, Crest Fellowship, Commonwealth Academic Staff Fellowship, Marie Curie Fellowship, DST Fast Track Young Scientist Award, UGC Research Award, and the Ideal Teacher Award in the year 2016. Dr. Khedkar sir, he is the founder director of the Paul Hubbard Center for DNA Barcoding and Biodiversity Studies, which was established in the year 2010. He is also serves as the director of Center of Coastal and Marine Biodiversity, a satellite center of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, which was located on the west coast of India in Ratnagiri, where he oversees coastal research programs and ocean informatics for the fisher communities. He is also director IQAC as well as coordinator Prime Minister Uchchatar Shikshan Abhiyan. While representing India on the global stage, Doctor has been a member of Scientific Steering Committee for the International Barcode of Life Project Canada in the year 2012 to 2017 and 2018 to till 24. He has also spearheaded the Planetary Biodiversity Mission in India, collaborating with near about 120 universities and 6 nodal centers to map India's entire biodiversity using DNA barcoding. Dr. Khedkar sir has visited near about 42 countries for his scientific collaborations. It includes USA, UK, Canada, Australia, Scotland, Russia, Mexico, Belgium, Germany, France, Austria, Japan, Singapore, South Africa, Brazil, China, West Indies, Sri Lanka, and etc. While going towards the impact during the COVID-19, Sir has established an ICMR approved COVID-19 diagnostic laboratory within a record time of 1 month. He successfully secured over 2 crore in CSR funding and facilitated the testing of 1 million patient swabs, making a significant contribution to the society and the government. While going through the research and the academic contribution of Dr. PhD, he is a guided near about 10 PhD scholars to completion, with 9 currently pursuing the research. Additionally, there are 30 master students which have completed their dissertation under his supervision. He has published over 130 research articles in reputed journals, authored 3 books, edited 1 book, and secured 2 patents and 2 technologies. He serves as the reviewer over 15 Scopus listed journals evaluating numerous research manuscripts, and he organized 12 national and 3 international workshops on the DNA barcoding, trained over 1,200 researchers, students, and faculty members. A sought after speaker, Dr. Khedkar sir has delivered over 300 invited talks, keynote addresses, and inaugural lectures in the past 5 years. Dr. Khedkar sir and his research team have recently launched a health genomics initiative to investigate recurrent implantation failure in human subjects, epigenetic mechanism in cervical cancer recurrence, male infertility, oral cancer, utilizing cutting-edge approaches such as the metagenomics, transcriptomics, and tumor genomics. Additionally, here I want to state here that the government of Maharashtra had funded him to develop strategies for conserving native livestock breeds of Marathwada, including Duni and Lal Khandari cattle and the Usmanabadi goat. He has also established a state-of-the-art animal house facility at his center. Thank you, sir.
Should I start, sir? Rafe sir is there or not?
No, sir. Yes, start kara, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. Madam, thank you very much for introducing me.
Thank you,
And
sir.
good afternoon to everyone. I think most of you belong to different parts of the country. I can just see your names. I can guess from that. Means different part of our country. So I think I need to talk in English only. Is that okay for everyone?
Yes, sir, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's okay,
Yeah,
sir.
and someone can take a charge. He can respond. No, because sometime no, I will go on talking and maybe connection missed. So I can't guess it. Means I can predict it from here. So it will be good. Someone can take charge, and if something is wrong, you can inform me or you can call on my phone. So I can go back and I can recollect the things. Okay. So I can see one thing. Most of you belong to a very diverse background. And then talking on some common interests of everyone is really challenging for the speakers for this course. In that side, I will prefer first to talk on ethics in research. This topic, do anyone touch this topic before? Anyone talk something regarding ethics in research?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet.
So not in this FIP, sir.
Okay. How many days has been gone? Means from how long you are in this course? How many
2
days?
weeks, almost 2 weeks.
Sir,
Sir.
around 2 weeks. Sir.
4 days.
2 weeks, sir. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So you are just reaching to the end of the course. Wonderful. So I will be happy to, get your interaction in between. You always feel free to disturb me during the lecture. So I will be happy to answer your queries and we will go ahead with our topics. So most of you are now beginners and some of you must have pursued your PhD degree also, already awarded. Some of you must be doing research. Others maybe even guides also, research guide. So relatively, this is a mixed group, and that's why some may feel it is new, but others may feel okay, we already know this. What is new in talking on ethics in research? Such queries always happen in the orientation courses. So who are very senior and experienced, so they just bear with me in this lecture. Who are new, so be interactive, and we'll go ahead with this topic. Is that okay? My voice is audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you look at the scenarios earlier, we were like innovators of so many things. India as a country, from the ancient period, if you look back, whole world was following our research innovations and ideas related to various fields. It include like starting from the human sciences, medical sciences to architectural, even space science. Everywhere we were like innovators, and we were appreciated like anything, and people were following. You must be knowing like the first university ever in the world was being started in India. And that's why, we are like initiators of education system also in earlier days. So many things we were having in earlier. But later on, what happens, you must be knowing during the like Mughals, then afterwards Britishers came in and they introduced their own system. During Mughal period, Mughal era, they don't have nothing to do with education. They never concentrated on these ideas. But Britishers, since they were ruling north, east, west, south of the globe, So they were always feeling ki there must be connecting link between the local people and the communities. So in this uh, in these lines, they created education system in India, but most of the education system, whatever we can see, it was very different purpose. They incepted the education system. Main purpose was to create some manpower who can help them in their administration. So never it been considered that they want to make good engineers or they want to make some good academicians, researchers. It was not agenda or objective. In most of oral literature, you can see. Although I am not from this field, but apparently looking at different literature from the British era and seeing the things, you can clearly it is visualized. They were not interested in making good scientists, good researchers in the country. And that was a biggest gap being created after in ancient period. Later on, because of the different rulers were ruling us, and later on we got freedom, and then we started doing something in the field of education or academics. So this lacking gap, sometime we were just following Britishers. Most of our scholars were traveling to the different parts of the world during even British era, and undertook studies in big universities or very well-known universities like Cambridge or Oxford or many other, ruling big universities being done. And from them, some tradition been started in India to have good research. But now the scenarios are very differently going on because of internet, because of this all IT technology, and recently the what we are calling it as a AI. So these things are now become posing a lot of challenges to this field, to the research and basic innovation related fields. So in that sense, I felt ki I should share few ideas and few thoughts related to ethics in the research. Most of us must be very much familiar with what we were in the past. And in real sense, we are having a great tradition and culture of values and innovation. So whatever things we were doing, it was having very high values behind it. And we were known for our values during that era. But recently, if you look at our research output, so I think every like a quarter, at least some articles we are receiving, which were posing us or somewhere comments been done in a negative sense regarding the research output of our country. We are now over 1.3 billion people. And if you look at the academic setup India is having is, I think, largest academic setup we are having in the world. Over 2,000 universities, more than 38,000 colleges, and few hundred research institutes working in the country. And after Britishers left or after, the freedom we got, although having this much manpower, this much force, government is putting so many things, investing hugely in the academics, still India is dreaming to have one Nobel Prize for the citizen who is living in India, work in India, but got a Nobel Prize. And I think that dream is dream for many years, and how many years will come to fulfill this dream, really it is difficult to guess. And I think, in my opinion, uh, biggest concern for fulfilling this dream, I think somewhere it is laying in the ethics, what we are following in our research. And that's why we will move ahead with few things related to research. If you look at the countries and nations, you can see how much population we are. And then you can look at the how other countries. We are very few in population. For example, you can take Japan, you can look at USA, you can look at the other countries like Russia. Population is very few, but if you look at their research output, it is huge. Huge mean nowhere it is comparable with the countries like ours. And that scenario is very difficult. We can't calculate per person like output as a research output or something. But in countries like Japan or in countries like US, that calculation is pretty possible. And that sense, that is making a big sense. What is a development if you are talking on one side? And on another side, if you are claiming uh, what is a driving force for your development? I think most of the time we are lending money from the International Monetary Funds or World Bank, and lot of development like bubbles we are showing nowadays. In real sense, if you look at the growing economy, we are talking now, it is at fourth position. We are leaving fifth position and we are going much ahead. But if you look at the per capita income, it's very negligible we are as compared to the other countries. And looking at the population, looking at the geographic area, whatever we are talking about the growth, I think that growth is that picture is very much like a soap bubble. And other countries, if you look what we are talking at developed countries or something, we can very clearly you can see one thing. Innovation is one of the biggest driver for their development. And this innovation, where it is coming from, the innovation, behind every innovation, there is a force of researchers. There is a culture of research. There is a culture of making good academicians. All these people are putting efforts to make a successful, entrepreneur or successful innovators or successful, like startups. In that sense, we are really far, far away from the global standards. And that's why, if you look yourself as an academician in the mirror of, academic mirror, I took this photograph from the Nature journal. So tropical researchers having very ugly face in the academic mirror of the globe. And I think mostly the things concerned everywhere, whatever cartoons, whatever research articles, whatever popular articles or public articles you are referring. So mostly, one thing is behind all this ugly picture is a ethics. So 10 leading countries in the Nature Index, if you look, we are nowhere in that. First is United States, and this data is still, I'm not showing a recent data, it is a old data, but present scenario is much wider than what I'm showing here. So United States, you can look at the like ranks 1 through 10 are unchanged from the 2019 table. If you look at this, so Nature Index, you can see almost 20,000 for US, and we are nowhere in this. Australia is least, around 2,000 it is contributing to that. And if you look at the countries leading in the science, so the scientific publications for them, if you see, so that scenario is also very different. Like China is now publishing 20% of the leading publications in the globe. India is also at third position with 5.31% share. And if you look at the United States, they are sharing 16%. We are 5.31. Someone may feel very good about the figure, but in these publications, if you look at the quality of the publication, which is really not found in Nature Index, which is not found in other good indexed, like index providers, like, for example, like a Scopus or something. So in these peer-reviewed journals and that make sense-making publications, we are greatly lacking there. So if you look at the research output as a publication per country per million inhabitants, we are at the bottom. So top 15 means publication, 33 publications, more than 33 publications per million people. Denmark is standing first. Very small country, very tiny. You can have hundreds of Denmark in our country. That was small, geography-wise, population-wise. Switzerland is second. And then if you look at the another scenario, for example, second coming to 7 publications per million, there also we are not there. Here, Germany, most of the European countries are there. And just Asia is like a Japan, you can see there. But if you look at the publication and output, China is topping here, but that number is just close to 5 to 6. India per publication per million is coming near to half. So this is showing key in the global race. If you are more populous, that means your responsibilities are more, and you need to equally contribute. In that equal contributions, we are lacking behind like anything. That is a reason nowadays government of India is having so many other drivers where they want to make more universities, your cluster universities, they are bringing in sometime autonomous colleges and all these things. They want to make an infrastructure so that at least we should have some visualized, things for making good publications and good contribution to science. So, first thing coming for making this ethical consideration and making good scientific output. So responsible conduct of research is very essential, or it is at the bottom of what we are predicting. What is the responsible conduct of research? Several times now you can see in laboratories also. Most of you must be, some of you must be guides also, research supervisors. Others may be preparing for that. When you are working in a lab or when you are conducting some practicals or doing some projects with the students, most of the time I have seen one thing. If you're asking your students, if something go wrong in your laboratory or in your experiment, if you ask someone, I have seen in my 25 years service, I have seen no one will accept the responsibility. No one will come forward and tell, Ki, sir, I have done this wrong. So this happened because of me. This experience spoiled because of me. I haven't seen any single student till now. So I think this is very essential to have responsible conduct in the research, and we need to make responsible scholars or students. Many times we see ki I am a good person, so why do I need to worry about research ethics? Means I am a good person, so everyone call me good and I am doing everything very nicely. People appreciate me. Why I should worry about the research ethics? These are such type of things. Oftenly we have seen such type of behaviors from the seniors or our peers. But in terms of research, it is true that we can't do much about the bad person who is determined to do evil things. That is nothing. Ethics are not for the people who are determined to do the evil things. But research ethic isn't just or even mostly about bad people doing bad things. It is not. With research ethics or whatever we are talking about the good conduct, this is not meant for only the people who are do manipulations or do something in a wrong way. This research ethics means for it is applicable to every one of you, and how one should follow it. So you can see if someone of you have already studied in US or Western countries, you must be knowing one thing there. Whoever you are, but there are certain you know like a independent bodies. They can come and they can visit your laboratory and they can examine you at any time. Such type of many committees you can see in the Western world. And they excuse me, yeah. So I'm audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So they can come and examine what animal means ethics you are following, do proper records you are maintaining or not, do your stocks are proper or not. All these things they do. They never consider this is a lab of a Nobel Prize winner or something. It is not their business. They just want to see ki really whatever public money being invested in the research is going in the right direction. You must be, every one of you must be knowing whatever salaries or whatever research grants we are receiving, that money is coming from the common taxpayers' pocket. And that's why they do have full rights to do all these things. But in our country, whenever we are working in our lab or whenever we are doing some work, we always feel like no one should question me. And I should not be answerable to a common person. And even people should, means many times, what you are doing in your laboratory or in your university, common person, they don't know about that. I think that is one of the reason we are getting a free hand in behaving in our own way. and overlooking the responsible conduct of research. I think these things are very essential. So societal, uh, uh, responsibility by the researcher is an important aspect we need to always consider whenever we are spending a single penny or conducting something or, wasting some research material. We must understand these things. So research ethics is not just meant for giving a good research outcome. It is also meant for the use of the funds which been paid by the taxpayers. So that concept we need to consider very considerably. You must be knowing one story. I must tell you. 7 years back, 8 years back, there was one litigation in a Delhi High Court, and it was litigation was for between two laboratories. One laboratory was getting a research grant of 30 lakh rupees, and during that research grant in 3 years they published 15 research papers. Another laboratory adjoining to the same professor, another laboratory, another professor was working, he got more than a crores grant, and he has published only 3 papers. So what happened? The scholars, there was a quarreling between the scholars, and one scholar put a public litigation key. Since we are having this much publications in very small grant and they are sense making, another laboratory you funded which are having 3 to 3.5 times more grants, but their research outcome is just 20% to what we did. It is not called as a mismanagement of funds or misuse of funds. Likewise, the litigation been done, and there was a lot of argument happened throughout the country on this issue. That been even become a newspaper's tagline also. But later on, what happens? There was a committee been assigned by the court, and later on, what happens to that report and everything, no one knows. But such things are happening very obviously and very commonly. So, responsible conduct of research is again directly related to the what funds you are receiving and how you are using, making a great contribution to the field of science. Next thing is also important key about imperfect people doing imperfect things for a variety of reasons. So, you are good, you are doing good things and giving good outcome. So you should not bother about ethics. That is also wrong. But on another side, imperfect people doing imperfect things for a variety of reasons, and sometimes they must not be knowing it they are doing something wrong without understanding the meaning of ethical conduct. Lot of time many things are happening. For example, socially acceptable practice we later deemed wrong. It happens several times. Researcher or student is not knowing, and that is a societally acceptable practice. But later on, if someone claims, no, it was a wrong conduct. So sometimes it happens with the people who are not aware about the things. Sometimes having accidents in laboratories also put yourself into the negative side for the ethical conduct. Then misdemeanor is a level wrong that we try to justify, taking shortcuts. For example, doing things instead of taking a systematic move ahead with a design plan of your research, somewhere taking like a jump in between and doing like misdemeanor. So taking shortcut and proving that I did everything perfect. For example, in case of your you must be knowing like in clinical trials, such things are very commonly happening. For example, you must be knowing during COVID-19, what vaccination been developed. That is the best example of misdemeanor, because we were thinking on one side key society is at the threat of life, and then there is no way instead of giving permissions to doing the ethical means your clinical trials, and that was like a one misdemeanor been done. Then missing something, especially when new methods or technology. So you are not aware. For example, you must be knowing earlier it happened like um, prior to the nuclear fission reactions, the side effects were not known. So technology was known, and many accidents been happened during this time. So missing something, and especially you are not knowing that also. So in such cases, imperfectly things can happen. And we claim like what research we did is a correct one. So such claims sometimes, without knowing what you are doing, I think it is a imperfection. So we should not claim because I was not being told by someone to do this or this is wrong or right, I did it. So it is accepted to the science in terms of your in the sphere of the ethical conduct. I think it is wrong. It is not. Then one can become involved in research ethics violation through the wrong or wrong of others. That is also sometime one of the biggest part of a debate. Like for example, I am working in a team of 5-7 researchers, and then we got some results, everything, and we started it for publication. Later on, I come to know that some images or some data is falsified. So in such cases, also ethic violation is a part of not someone personally being done. It is a whole responsibility of every group. So there is no excuse for one person doing wrong and others were very honest. There is no excuse for anyone in that group. And that's why, ethical considerations are very important. Then sometimes the right thing to do just isn't clear. It happens with many times with us also, and we might have gone through such scenarios. You don't know how to do the things in a perfect way. You are not clear about that thing. And that's why in such practices, sometime overlook can happen. It can become a basis of even big accidents also. You must be knowing the Chernobyl accident. So in Chernobyl, during that Chernobyl accident happened in Russia, it was the people who were very new and they were not knowing how to control the processes in the nuclear plant. And that accident become one of the biggest example for the whole world. What is meant by perfection, what is meant by ethics, wherever it is applicable for dealing with the science or dealing with the procedures developed by science, it is very important to look. Self-deception and other psychological tendencies are also there. I have seen a very beautiful example I can quote with you. One of my student, very intelligent, but he's always rushing in getting his results. He's always think like once I'm doing something, I should get a result in a one go. Whenever he was stucking with getting proper results, what he is expecting, then his mind always moving to another side to manipulate the data. So self-deception is also one of the thing people are always getting in that. So there are other psychological things also people are always carrying. Keep other one person in a laboratory or in a group is getting good data. He's publishing nicely. His results, his experiments are not failing and he's publishing, he's doing very nicely, and others when they look at his performance they get psychological problems sometime, and they can develop certain tendencies in you know in either falsifying data or in disproving the person who is performing good in the laboratory. So here also one of the biggest thing we need to consider is ethical conduct. You must be knowing one story being published in 2016, 2015 or 16, by one of the researcher from India. He was working in university, in a very renowned university in US. And same thing happened with him. It was a psychological tendency he got developed. That was like, it was a group of 7, 8 researchers working with a senior professor there. And one girl student, she was getting very wonderful results, publishing every time, and his final thesis related things were almost in the final stage. And suddenly one day she observed one thing, when she want to take a photograph of her western blots, she found most of them are not as giving images that she was expecting or earlier she been done, and she was horrified with this. So one day, 2 day, then later on, she want to look at her cultures, what she been developed for her PhD work. During her PhD work, she started ki most of them were not working. She was horrified with this experience, and she was knowing ki if I am putting the Western blot for months together or years together, it is never going to spoil itself. Then she put one small camera, spy camera in the laboratory. And for her surprise, in a couple of days, and she made one big voice also in the lab. Ki, see, I'm got very wonderful results, and I'm having very nice now data, and I am going to publish it very soon. Very soon I will get a photographs and all data I am sending for statistical analysis. And these cultures, everything I am keeping in this refrigerator. Please don't disturb it. Likewise, she put a message, make a propaganda in the lab, and she put a spy cam without anyone's notice. And for her surprise, in a couple of days, when she came back and watched at the spy camera, she was surprised to see the person. His name was Dr. Bharigo. He was a postdoctoral fellow actually. Bharigo from Tamil Nadu in Maharashtra in India. He was working there as a postdoctoral fellow in US. So he was doing poisoning to her cultures. He was spoiling her data, means the proof of her Western blots. And purpose was only one thing, he was not successful and she was getting success always. You must be knowing that this article been published in Nature. It was a Nature communication. You can Google sometime. Bharigo is the student name, and sabotage in research is the name of the article. So, if you are not being nurtured in a perfect way during your PhD or during your masters, when you are doing your research projects, such psychological tendencies can develop and self-deception can happen very commonly. And for this purpose, we need to very much aware about the research ethics, and we must always consider how we can make our students more vigilant about the research conduct and responsible, research. So these two, three things are very essential. Now I will just take one call. Do you understand me what I am saying? I am clearly audible to you, and my language is also understandable. Just I want to get a call from you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my speed, everything is okay?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah. So we will go back to another thing like professional pressure. So this is also very important aspect in ethical conduct of research. I am doing in very short time. I am publishing in a year. I am publishing 10 publications. Such claims are very commonly you can see among the research scholars. The story I was telling about you from the JNU was publishing more in small grant, publishing in less in large grant. So these are the some professional pressure students are carrying, and they are linking your research output with so many things. So I think I am first, or lot of time we have seen our supervisors or our teachers also mentioning ki publish or perish. Means if you don't publish, that means your data will perish. It is somehow somewhat it is true also. We need to publish it, but for making publishable data, you need to be very honest. One thing. Second thing, if your data is been rejected by the various research journals, so how it can be get attracted for making such things? Lot of time young students and sometimes even senior faculties also are doing very much wrong practices. So publish or perish, this should not be linked to the duration, and this should not be linked to the quality also. And this should not even overlook the ethical conduct. Then second thing is coming the securing job, awards, cash, dean's position, vice chancellor's position. Very commonly you can see in our conditions or in our Indian scenario. There is an advertisement, and sir, see, there is an advertisement in our university, and if I submit my thesis, I will be eligible for, you know, submitting application. Sometimes someone will claim, ki, why don't you conduct my house examination? Because I will have interview. I can get a call from the, university for job. Lot of times such pressures been created on the supervisor. Sometime for getting a research award, the cut down date is coming close, and then someone will ask, no, for this award I want to submit. Sometime resubmitting thesis like data for awards, for best thesis, our best dissertation award. Lot of times students play for this. Reason we never taught them key what is mean by ethics and what is mean by responsible conduct of research. Sometimes even faculties like us, for getting professor's position, associate professor, senior lecturer or assistant professor, lot of time to meet the gap, the small gap for matching the dates. We used to send our data to some journals which are even not called as a journal. And if you look at the what is the figure of such journals in India, can anyone guess how many journals been published every year from India? Do anyone know it? I will make your answer very short. You have seen the care list. चैताली मॅडम तुमचा हा बंद करा स्पीकर. Yes. So the care list, how many journals were there in care list? Anyone can guess or can tell me? Care list journals, have you came across the care list journals? Can anyone tell me how many journals in the care list? So when the care list was there in the existence by the UGC, that time, now it is no more. But that time the journal number was more than 13,000 journals in care list. Then they gradually they removed many journals, but number was huge. And several journals were coming, and even there this publication track was like publishing in overnight. You are having interview tomorrow, and if you feel I'm having shortage of some publications, you can send some data and they will cook the story and send you. There are many service providers you can see in India. They will ask you, "Ki, we will offer you a co-authorship. We will offer on payment basis." They will even ask you, "Ki, we can write a thesis for you." Even there are some service providers, they will mention, "Ki, you want a research publication, we will write it for you and we will get it ready-made published publication they can give you on your name." So such type professional pressures has bring such type of practices in our country. I think such practices may not be prevailing anywhere in the world. Then another thing is coming like institutional pressure. I have got several time calls from very big universities. Can you link with us if you are you put as a me or XYZ from my university as a co-author, will pay for it. Sometimes people ask you for citing their publications. Some of you must have received a mail from some Chinese researchers. They ask you to put reference on my name. I will pay for every reference. Sometimes what happens, institute want good grades and they want more publications, so they give incentives for the researchers to publish more. And in doing this, many time it happens like we overlook the ethical sphere of research or research ethics. Then in ranking, various ranking, research publication is one of the key factors. So that's why in research, research publication number is more, you are having more citation, it will give you good possibilities for getting good rank, whether it is a national ranking, whether it is a state ranking, or whether it is a global ranking. So such type of institutional pressures are also responsible for, overlooking the responsible conduct of research. Keeping up with the peers. For example, one of my colleague, he is doing like same day we joined, same university we learned, and same department we joined. One is doing much good publications and others are not, other is not, or failing to do good publications. So such thing, keeping up make you to overlook the ethical pressure, ethical considerations. Then another thing is coming nowadays, like securing grants. If I want to get a good research grant, I must have publications, and for that purpose, then we start overlooking the qualities of paper or quality of research data I am having. Second thing is coming, I got a research grant from one agency, and I am having every year I need to publish, means present my research progress. That time also we have seen several times people are gathering just data, putting somewhere and getting some publication and then showing, "Okay, I published 3 publications out of this grant, and next I am having plan for another 6 publications in 2 years time." Likewise, we claim, and this such type of claim under put you a lot of pressure on you, because you've been, you are like accepting, I'm going to publish, or you are claiming that I'm going to publish. So next year, whenever your progress is being presented, someone from the committee will ask you, last time you were mentioning ki 6 publications I will have, but you don't. Then you got a pressure, and next time you do more than that what they are expecting. So several time we have seen in research, evaluation committees, research grant evaluation committees, if you are having good publication, they start believing you. How much publication, what research consideration, what sort of outcome of your research, largely been undermined here. Then next thing is coming with, if I'm showing more publication being published out of my research grant, people stop asking questions. So all these things, pressurize you, and to release these pressures, people start doing some bad practices or overlook the ethical considerations. Then being first to a discovery is another important thing. Being first discovery, usually this been, you can see among the big research laboratories like Chaitali madam, you switch off your mute your mic. So someone from HRDC can ask her to mute, or you can mute her mic. Then, yes, sir. So, being first to discovery, this also very important. I have seen one positive story I must tell you. One group was working on the, toad related discoveries in India, the evolution of toads, different toad species. And same time, one group from Cambridge was also working. That time, this journal submission, gateway was not there, manuscript submission gateway. So people were usually submitting the stories of 1996, 95. So the both group were working hand to hand, very close to very nice discovery. And what happened that time, they need to submit this through the emails. So both parties, both research laboratories, they sent this publication to the editor in chief, and both papers were sent for the evaluation, because obviously titles were little bit differing. So the editor chief has not looked very seriously into it, and he sent both the articles. What happened? Both articles been accepted. And when both articles been accepted and they came to the journal, someone has noticed that the same both articles were working on the same idea, and they were claiming about the same thing. So whom to give first, and whom to give whose article should be considered as the novel, and who should be the later. So a lot of discussion been happen on this issue. They call a lot of data from the both the parties, but someone suggested ki look at who submitted first paper on your email, and you will surprised to know that that difference was just 7 to 8 minutes, minutes difference between these two mails. And who submitted first become the his paper been accepted as a discovery of toad species on Asian platform. So such type of hand-to-hand or cutthroat, cutthroat competition also you can observe, and it can put a lot of professional pressure either on the faculties or on the research scholars. And all these things like publish or perish, securing job or awards or getting positions, institutional pressures for publishing more, keeping up with the peers, securing large grants, and being first in the discovery, all these things are always putting the misdemeanor like conditions or even worse. So, we need to train our students, or we need to train our parents also in saying, Ki, whatever I will do, whether it is late or early, I don't matter for me. Whatever I will do, I will be perfectly inside the sphere of ethics. That very essential for all the researchers.
Anna.
Then, yeah. Then what are the moral foundations of research? We have done several things we have done. I will share with you a small story. So that everyone should be here also. So I will just share one story with you. All are there? Yeah, and why
Yes, sir.
one of you are putting your names in this one, not name, only numbers you are putting here. This is not a good practice. You can put your names in your profile instead of putting the roll numbers. You can even put a roll number first and put your names. So I'm going to share with you a small story. I missed in between this. I was talking to you. Actually, it was related to everyone is there online or not at present?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we all are there.
Yeah. So let me collect some information too. My screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir. Visible.
What you are seeing on my screen is okay.
Desktop, sir. Yes, now PPT is there.
Okay, good. So let me collect information on the story I am going to share with you. But the moral foundations of research, it means doing good for human, animals, and planet, future generations, etc., via the pursuit of truth and knowledge. So moral foundation means doing everything on a perfect foundational ground. Then our duty to respect individuals means whatever area you are working, whether it is a science or whether it is a social sciences or any other branch of science, maybe engineering or maybe whatever agriculture you are working, but the moral foundation of research should be everywhere. We should follow it. And moral foundation of research means what key at every stage I should be perfect in doing my research. Then uh, another part of this doing the research, it doesn't mean just creating the honest data. It doesn't always mean that. Means I am not following some ethical practices, but I'm generating a very honest data. That means I am ethically correct. That is also cannot be claimed. Then like if you are working with animals or generating data or related to human subjects, so in such cases also, if I am not following proper protocols, it always challenge the moral foundation in such cases. Then another thing is coming about the our obligations to society. For example, I'm receiving a fund for doing some good research, which is a burning problem in the society. But what should be the timeline for giving this solution or generating data for the usable way to the society? So if I'm expected like immediately society is looking for you at your data. For example, in COVID-19, uh, people were very much aware about one thing it is a life threatening and I need to protect myself. For that purpose, whatever the database has been generated by the agencies in US or WHO, they were immediately collecting information and sending it to society. What is the time lapse? When they understood it is a pandemic, what was the time lapse? Lapse was even not a 6 hours. That rapid way everyone was working and providing this data. Then another thing is coming, like when they started developing the vaccines or they started developing the different treatment protocols, the time related to developing this and disseminating this data was very obviously very short, and they try to help the societies. If that time someone would have called, ki, no, 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 now I need to re-verify and I need to do this and that, and I'm not delivering it. So the purpose for which society was funding you, sometime you need to repay in the record time or in the expected duration is also essential. Another thing is coming, for example, you are seeing the trends of any type of it related to health, it related to economics, it related to like monetary growth, it related to even education, whatever you are talking. So time durations for such project is always decided, and during this expected time you need to deliver your data in a legitimate way. So such timelines not following is also following in the spheres of ethical considerations, and you are violating ethical practice. That means in record time, what you are claiming, if you are not delivering the objectives of your studies to the whatever end users, it means you are lacking the ethical things. So such many things you need to consider during the in these ethical considerations. Then various obligations derived from these foundations, and they can be uh, in detention with other one another. So if I am not having good planning maker, and I'm taking this in data, means I'm taking a project as a challenge and I start working without considering much. Small story related, one of my student, he was working on a Gangetic dolphin. What happened? This we took we started working on his PhD synopsis, and he was very much overwhelmed to work on Gangetic dolphins. And I was aware about one thing: the Gangetic dolphins are endangered animals, and it is very difficult to get the permissions. But he was very much keen. No, no, sir, I will obtain the permissions. You just allow me and submit my synopsis everything. Well aware, I made him well aware about the consequences, but he was not listening. I said, if you are not listening, I will agree with you, but if consequences go in wrong way, like you are not getting permission, I will not be responsible. He said, don't worry. He registered. And the when he got his registration accepted or finalized, very next month, Government of India declared Gangetic dolphin as a national animal of India, national aquatic animal of India. And now, because of National Aquatic Animal of India, more pressures or more regulatory concerns been put on that animal. Then we are traveling to Bihar for getting some samples for this. So what happened? We first visited to one of the conservator of forest in Patna, and we asked him, ki, we want to have permission on a Gangetic dolphin to get some tissue samples, and we want to make some sites. So the answer given by the conservator of forest was so much, so much like a worrisome for us. He said, "Sir, आप तो sample बोल रहे हो, अभी गैंगेटिक डॉल्फिन को देखा तो भी वो क्राइम हो जाएगा, इस टाइप की सिचुएशन है." Likewise, situation scenario can come. Now what happened? His PhD duration was 3 days initially, 3 years in initially, extendable up to 5 years. 3 years been gone in just chasing in getting permissions. But later on, fortunately, what happened? Prakash Javadekar ji become environment forest minister, and since he was from Maharashtra, somehow we approached him and we got a permission. And then within 1.5 years, he would able to wind up his PhD work. So how difficult situations sometimes can come. So that's why, whenever you are doing research, you need to consider so many things which can compromise your moral foundation for the research. For example, if this guy would not have, or otherwise, sometime he might have collected tissue samples in a wrong way, which were not expected. And in such cases, you can have big question on your moral foundation for doing the research. Next thing is coming key, steaming research as the pursuit of truth. There are so many intelligent ideas been followed. You might be knowing the stories of paper retractions. Lot of paper retraction been happen in our country, but whenever these guys been asked the questions by the research journals, so the answers are so funny. and they always mention one thing, ki means what was the drive for having such misconduct in the research. So such type of thing, three things can be observed in the research misconduct or research retraction whenever explanation been given. So how this explanation usually been given, you can see one thing, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. These three things many time been seen that the people who are having such behavior, they try to overcome the misconduct or ethical sphere. The first is like truth. Be honest about your research. Means what he will do, whatever the true things in his story, he will tell. But whatever non-expected things, he will not reveal. So that become only truth. Sometimes people will say like it is a whole truth. Omission of part of research finding might constitute research in misconduct or violate other moral norms. For example, in doing some you must be knowing that is a big story, and still it is following in the ethical sphere. It is related to the mm, clinical trials. Most of the clinical trials been for the most of the drugs, although these companies are sitting in US or they are sitting in the Western world, and their product, they usually go for their testing in countries like Africa or in countries like Asia. What they do, they know here there is no strict consideration for doing ethical or clinical trials. They send their samples here, they contact some hospitals or doctors, and they give them luring things to the doctors or the hospitals, and they entrust their drugs. Drugs means whether it is injectables or tabs. So they put there and get a huge data generator from such firms, and that data being then they submit to ethical means their approving committees, and they through this data they pretend that everything been done in a perfect way, but the story behind it is just they are putting the whole truth there. They were not mentioning. They will mention ki 1,000 people been used for research study, but they never mention ki these thousand participants were knowing about what are the side effects or what purpose these treatment been given to them. This is largely coming under the misconduct, or it is totally violation of the moral norms in the research. But this is very commonly happening in terms in areas of medicine or pharmaceuticals. Then nothing but the truth is a third type of tactic being used in research misconduct. So it's also dishonest to puff up one's result by adding irrelevant or misleading information or overstating their significance. For example, if I am getting a result of something XYZ, and that result is really not suiting to the experimental design or something, but what I will do, our overstate, or I will cite someone who was having matching figures to me, and that way I will try to you know prove that XYZ has mentioned and he observed the same thing in similar manner or similar fashion. I got the results in this way. There I always misunderstood, undermine the, and undermine means deliberately undermine the ethical considerations, and we published. Most of you might have published several research articles. When writing your research articles in a discussion session, you always get nothing but truths experience. But we several time we become blind in making our publications publishable, and then we cite whoever suitable for me, I will cite it. Whoever not suitable for me, I will ignore it. This is again, on one side it is coming truth, but you are doing unethical practice in putting your data, or in shooting your manuscript to a specified journal. So such things are very commonly happening in research, and these are like a steaming research as a pursuit of truth. So all these examples, I think most of us came across, and maybe we never thought about whether it is what I am talking is really a misconduct of research or not. So the truth, the whole truth, or nothing but the truth. Sometimes what happens, I will just nothing but the truth means what I will do, whatever data which is conflicting my results, I will eliminate that data. That is also one sort of misconduct. Eliminating something data, what we got, a set of experiment I did and what data I am getting, some data I am eliminating, some data I am putting. So, and I never mention about what I am missing, what I am, omitting and what I am putting there. So this is also coming under the uh, pursuit of, like a misconduct. But I will start playing in mentioning that whatever I mentioned is accurate and very much true. That way, sometimes we cheat ourselves as well as we cheat our societies. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Everyone must be knowing this. It is very, very nice, I like this phrase. So in research, I think it is more and more relevant for doing the research. Uh, I'm audible to you now. You can see this screen and you can listen me. Am I
Yes, sir. Yes.
audible?
Audible, sir.
Okay. Then in 5-7 minutes we will take a break. By 4:30 we'll take a break and later on we'll continue. Is that okay for you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Then to whom we owe the truth and why? This is also one important example. But sometimes what happens, this earlier example, I share with you one story. Actually, I was, yeah, I was doing my screen share is there or not? At present, there is no screen share, no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yes, yes.
No.
No, sir, no.
Yeah. So what happened? I was working on one of my student. He was working on one of the big river system in India. It is River Narmada. I was doing my postdoctoral studies in US that time. I was in Hawaii, Honolulu. What happened? We obtain all his genetic data and we start analyzing it. And when we are analyzing now, it was surprisingly results were not matching with what been expected. And what was our study design? It was not matching. Several times I called my student, I was asking, Ki, how you perfectly done yourself, you did this sampling, everything. And he was very, sometimes he was annoyed with me. He said, Ki, sir, why you doubt me always? I did it very perfectly. I personally been traveled. You don't know how much, pain I took in collecting all this information. And now you are questioning me like it is frustrating me. Likewise, so many things he talked to me. And whenever this discussion was going on, my supervisor also listening there. He was a very senior guy. He's a very senior guy still, David Hammer. So he understood the scenario. He said, Dr. Khedkar, what we will do, we will take this data. There is a NASA center in University of Hawaii. We will go to NASA center when the satellite center means remote sensing center satellite data we can observe it whenever that satellite will on India and same basin it is facing. No, that time we'll book your slots and we'll go and we'll personally watch what happened there. What happened? They booked one slot. It was a huge center. You will not believe how much this story is 2013. I'm telling you how much advanced these guys were that time also. Now we don't know how much advancement they did, but it was a huge screen of more than 30 feet by 12 feet height, and that satellite can give a live image like you can watch on the screen. And they started that scanning the river basin, Narmada river basin, from the Bharuch, which is the end in the Gujarat, which is reaching to the ocean. From there we reach to the Amarkantak, where that river is originated. While going that, we have seen at one place there were 7 range of falls. I never been to Narmada river, but that on the satellites images I was seeing there, there were 7 range of falls in the Narmada river. Every fall is almost 30 meters deep. The fish he collected was somewhere from the upper side and somewhere from lower side. What happens? Some samples from the lower side mixed to upper side and upper side mixed to lower side, which was not giving me acceptable genetic results. And when we look at the samples, when we align the samples, and then I called my student and I was mentioning, Rahul, I'm very much sure you made big mistakes. and the mistakes is very obvious. You tell me which sampling station what you did, and he was not having answer for this. What happened now? His sample collections were, he asked someone there, local fisherman. It was a huge area. It was not his fault, but he was thinking ki someone can work me and I will collect from other region, someone collect from another region, and that way he did something. And the samples were mixed between these two stations, and that's why our results were not aligning. So now you see, the student was feeling ki whatever results will come, na, it is not going to so much, differentiate the things, and one can never understand it. So then we rectified this sample based on their alignment with the other data. So both things were ethically wrong. One thing, what he claimed, what he was mentioning me was ethically not correct. Later on, without going to the river site, we have taken these samples and aligned because of their alignment with the other data sets. Both things are not correct, because since only data set is matching with something, I put them together. Data set which is not matching, I put them aside. This is also not ethically correct. So ethical practice would be, I should go back to the river points, I should collect again it freshly, and then I can start analyzing data. So such, small things uh, can conflict you. My screen is visible to you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So such things are very, very much essential in doing this research. Now you tell me one thing, on ethical ground, do I was correct in aligning samples based on the evidences I got? Do it is ethically correct or not? How many of you agree with me? Can someone answer me? Hmm? You got my question? Are you there or not?
Sir, can you come again?
Yes. See, I was mentioning you one thing. Based on the data sets which are matching, I group them together, just looking at the virtual information, whether I'm correct in ethical sphere or not. Can anyone answer? Or almost others have left just by attending this, means just putting yourself on this online lecture. How many of you are there? Can you put your video on? Camera on? Where are others gone? Yes. Where are the others? This is online ethics are also very difficult for online lectures. A lot of time, you claim, means you are joined there, but one can guess whether you are there or not. This is the biggest question on the online lecture system. So I was mentioning one thing, I aligned my data based on matching groups, and accordingly we completed our, the research deliberations. So ethically it was wrong or correct? That question I was asking you. Can someone answer me? Krishna is there? 42 number? Is there anyone at the 71 number? Roll number 71. Roll number 21. Roll number 1 is there or not? HRDC कोण आहे? Who is there at HRDC? Who is there for HRDC? No
Sir,
one?
can you just repeat the question once?
I was asking madam one thing. Uh, Ki the data set which was been mismanaged by the student, based on the evidences and based on the third source, we align them together and make that data set complete. So primary data set been generated by XYZ, but looking at the XYZ source, we try to match the data, match the samples, and then we complete our data set. It was ethically correct or not?
No, sir. Data can be manipulated.
So it is ethically correct or not?
No, sir, I don't think so.
Ethically wrong?
Yes, sir. Ethically wrong.
Perfect. What is your good name, madam?
Pallavi Bhosle.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. That was ethically really not correct and never been accepted in research. Third party sources should always be scrutinized on ethical ground as well as on moral grounds also. That was wrong. You are right. So such many things are essential. Sometime you are sending your data to the statistician. Is there any statistician in this group? Is any from statistics? I'm really frustrated with one thing. Most of you are absent on. At present, I can see your numbers, but people are not there. And this is really frustrating. Number 21, number 1. Can you appear here? Number 66. Number 7. 46. 17. Many times we send data to statistician, and in standard practices, you are having groups. So a lot of time making groups, you can statistician will ask you. This is like a outlier sometime. And data is looking like outlier, and should I keep it or not? A lot of time statistician ask you. So lot of time we answer him, ki, sir, if it is not matching, no, then just omit it. Do it is ethically correct?
No, sir.
No, sir. Outliers should also be included, sir.
Yes, but most of the research papers should, go and take some research papers from any Indian researcher. Look at data. Many papers you will see people are claiming it is statistically significant. Then outliers, most of the time they will not mention. Most of the time we don't mention about the biases of your study also. And if it is a biases, how many time we discuss about the biases of our study? Biases means what? Ki in one group I am getting like, am I expected study design was, for example, 30 to 80 or 80 samples in every group. So what happens? I am having 7 groups. So every group I am getting like a 80-85 samples perfectly. But in some group I will have less than 50%, like more less than 50 or less than 30 samples I am getting. And in that case, I will do then, in that case, either that 30 sample number, I will omit that. Either one thing I will do, or second thing, what I will do, I will reduce all other numbers to 30. But instead of doing that, if I can mention in that key, this is like a bias in this study, key one group is not sufficiently been addressed. Whatever reason, if I am honestly mentioning there, so that can be a very nice idea. So, these things are very much concerned about uh, the ethics, all these things. And, it been never taught to us ki we should do this or not. So that is a biggest problem. Just pardon me for. So, statistical analyses are largely been related to the ethical practices, largely been. largely been concerned with that. And it happens very commonly. Statistical mistakes are becoming very common in our analytical pathways. So this is one thing. Yeah. So now we'll come back to the main question related to this. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So to whom do we owe the truth and why? That is one important question. I was mentioning you, most of researchers all over the world, except the sponsored research, all we are doing this research based on the funding of XYZ. That means based on the funding made by most of our taxpayers. So the public, for its funding support, for them we should be truthful. For them we need to be true or honest. Then individual research participants, out of respect for their autonomy, means whoever participating, whoever helping you, so in doing your research, what group you are leading, whoever, means starting from your peon to animal caretaker to your chemist or statistician, for them we need to be honest enough. Colleagues and collaborators whose research may be based on our research, means what happens once we were working on developing some protocols related to like identifying some this I think date tree, how to identify male and female in dates at the early seedling stage. And one of my student, he took some papers from Chinese researcher. He said, "Ki, sir, this is a good piece of work. I think we can try our best on his result, and it can work." I said it will be good because most of our samples, farmers, they are sending samples and we are sending it to the Singapore, and they analyzing and sending data. It was hugely costly. Why not we should develop our own method? That was my idea. And we downloaded that Chinese paper. Not only downloaded, we paid money for that paper, and then we start working in my lab to develop a protocol. What happened? We spent more than 6 months. I fired two research scholars there during that period because their results were not appreciating and no outcome was coming. And then third scholar, she joined and she was working and she said, "Ki, no, sir, results are not coming. I doubt on the paper." Then we carefully look at the all 6 month data and we found that everything was done perfectly, but what claim he made in the research paper were wrong. So for 6 months, we used several resources from the laboratory. We spent a lot of primers, we spent a lot of chemicals, consumables, electricity, salaries on the scholars. Everyone was working on this project, and a lot of peace of mind we lost during these days. The results were not coming. And finally, we wrote one letter to the journal editor. We said this paper, whatever he claimed is wrong, and now we invested this much efforts in this, and we wasted all our efforts. That means your journal is not reliably doing it. He said, I will call again. He was a Chinese guy. In the chief was a Chinese person. So he said, we'll ask him questions. Your data, everything we'll send, and if required, we will retract the paper. They he assigned one committee also. Every journal is having ethics committee in the journals, so that data, everything been sent to them. Then they ask us several questions: how to set a new experiment, this that, just to pull the time. Finally, we found it is just wasting of time going behind them. We just wind up everything, and that technology can never be developed. So these are unfortunate things can happen sometime. That means if I'm honestly doing something in my research, so people who are following me may not waste their efforts in doing, something which I did. So he can advance the research based on what I did. But if I'm not doing perfectly, so the other people who relying on my papers or on my data may pose unnecessary to the putting a lot of financial burden as well as uh, psychological pressure on them. So these things are not expected, and that's why ethics are very essential in the research. We'll take a break of 5-7 minutes. 4:40 we'll join back. Is that okay for you?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
But I request everyone who is there from HRDC, if I will ask them forcefully to put these guys down who are not present here, and they're presently, I will ask them to put your absentee in today's lecture, this lecture. So warn everyone who are close to you or who are your friends in this lecture. Okay? Yeah.
Yes.
This is not a good practice. Why? Very difficult. Way I find time to have this lecture today for you. We are over occupied and overburdened with several things. I am looking at IQAC of my university. We are going for QS as well as NIRF data submission every day. Lot of people are working with us to scrutinize everything from the university, and in that I find this 2 hours time for you. So please respect others' time and efforts in this course. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I will close first and then I will rejoin it. So everyone is back now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So I hope everyone is there now, hopefully. Then
Yes, sir.
talking about whom we should be loyal and truthful. So one is related to the funding support who are funding us. We must be honest to them. And there, whatever research conduct we do must be in line with the guidelines or in line with the expectation of the funding agency. Individual research participants, out of respect of their autonomy, means whoever are helping your research who are participating as a subject, them also we should be very honest because they are giving their time, their resources using for your research. Sometime even they are himself they are participating, and in that way their life is linked to your research. So we should be truthful to them. Colleague collaborators whose research may be based on our research. The example I was telling you, the Chinese story. So there also we need to be very careful. Another thing is research collaborators. Research collaborators means why we find collaborators. There is sometime I am having some challenges in doing some things or some facilities are not with me. My expertise is sometimes very short, and to fulfill that, I find some collaborator. So collaboration always meant for doing work some part here and some part with some another laboratory or the facility associated with your collaborator. So one side he will do, another side he will do. In among these two, if someone is really not following the ethics, entire experimentation will have a question on ethical, part. And in such cases, if it is revealed there are gaps in ethical conduct, both parties can be blacklisted. In academics, why we should much bother about these things and why UGC like governing bodies are having very strict regulations. Reason is simple. We are answerable to everyone who are funding you, society, as well as all these system is responsible for that. And if as a academician, if you are blacklisted, what will happen to your entire career? You can just think on this. So that way, it is very essential for us to be truthful to all the ethical, considerations. Then whoever the institutes are providing the funding resources, so there also we should be truthful enough. Then next is coming research institutions or universities. You must be knowing, how many of you know about the NIRF ranking this year? Maybe most of you must be knowing about NIRF and NAC. This year, NIRF ranking been declined to many leading institutions on only one ground. They got some retractions in their research publications. So since their research publications been retracted by the journals, their score been put to minus side by the government of India, National Institution of Ranking Framework, Department of Education, Union Ministry. So even by doing a wrong means by one individual research in a university can put your university to very much negative side. Only one thing, you are not following the good ethical practice. Then research institutes, universities or colleges, whatever you are working, your employment may be in the danger. Whatever resources you've been used, they can be reclaimed back, and reputation of your institutes can go bad if you are not following the research ethics. Then the research major areas of research ethics as far as Indian academicians are concerned, which is a research misconduct. It is very commonly been happening, and some reports even showing that out of 5, in one case you are finding the overlook for the ethical consideration or misconduct been happened. In 4, in 5, 1. So that very popularly happening is a falsification of data. Falsification of data means what? You are expecting something in your brain, and accordingly you are expecting data. If data is not coming, you start manipulating it. It is a very common practice across the universities and research institute. You can find very commonly. Fabrication is another way where you are fabricating the images, figures, and you are fabricating something which is expected by your brain. And now very commonly coming thing is a plagiarism. So plagiarism is a very commonly happening misconduct. That means I get inspired with someone's paper or someone's article, and I feel like I should use it. When I try to take some content from that, so that been written by something who highly impact making researcher. So you can't even your abilities not permit you to change little bit also in this content, and sometime it remains as it is, and then plagiarism can come sometime. Earlier days it was very commonly happening. Even some cases I have seen somewhere, people just change the name of the authors below. Title, everything remains same, just they change the author names and pretend that this paper belong to them. And there are many journals who never bother about the originality, or they never bother about the content of a paper. They never bother about which group is capable to do this and what is your past stories. They don't bother about it. Nowadays, when you are submitting a paper, usually they are asking your, you know, like a publication track. Most of the journals asking. So they've been asked your account details about the publication histories. Sometimes they ask about Scopus account details. Sometimes they ask about audit. So all these things you need to provide when submitting a paper, the ORCID and all that. So that way, research misconduct minimization is a specific policy you can see with most of the journals. Nowadays, in so many journals, automatically plagiarism check software been embedded as a AI in most of the submission manuscript submission platforms. But still, there are intelligent scholars you can see across the research community. They can do. I will tell you one small story. Once I was having one PhD scholar, and he was in rush to submit his research article. So what he was expecting ki, I should have in record time I should uh, submit my thesis and get good job and get away from all these things. So it was his expectation. And what happened? He submitted a raw copy of his thesis. Then I was asking ki, you first check the plagiarism in this paper and then I will edit it. He said, okay, sir. He sent that copy to plagiarism check to our library. Librarian has detected more than 48% of plagiarized content in the draft. I got that result from the librarian. So immediately I called him and I said, see, there is a lot of plagiarized content in this draft. You need to correct it and then I will check all the content. He said, okay. And very next day he returned back with a new draft and he sent me a e-copy. He said, sir, now there is no plagiarism. You send to library and get it checked. I sent it to library and librarian has sent me having less than 7% of plagiarism in the draft. I was so much surprised. His thesis was almost like more than 200 papers, 200 pages. And overnight he has corrected everything. 40 is more than 47 percent plagiarized content he has reduced to less than 7%. Was a surprising shock for me. Then I was just started evaluating, looking at the content, and I have seen he so intelligently has beat the plagiarism check softwares. And what was his trick? He understood how the software is working. Usually, the plagiarism check softwares they look consecutive three words. If it is coming similar, they underline it. That way, your whole content been checked by the plagiarism software. What he did, some places he put more space, double space. Some places he little bit changed the spellings, deliberately wrong spellings, not detectable like things. and that way he has changed whole content of the thesis. And what happens by doing this, plagiarism software been missed, or he cheated the plagiarism software. So sometime now our students are so immature and they can play such type of tricks. So here is your big role is as a supervisor to control such type of practices should not happen in your, you know, in your laboratory or in your group. Is your responsibility. Being a supervisor of a research, it is prone that students can behave like this way. One should be very intelligent in understanding this. So plagiarism check is a very essential thing. And now another thing came now in this recent 5 years, not 5, even 3 years. Recently, AI been came in, and it is going to spoil, and it is going to even very difficult for ethical considerations in research. AI, you can ask anything, it will prepare for you. If you ask it, your this content should not be matching with anything, AI will do that. And in such cases, we may lose our abilities to deal with writing good drafts, to deal with using brain in writing, creative writing. Use your brain in making, sense making presentations, putting the considerations of your research output. All these things may be compromised in coming days. So AI could be the biggest threat, in my own opinion, for bringing a good quality research. Now, next is coming the ethical consideration area is a collaboration issue. Authorship, data ownership, and management, data management. These things are very essential. So a lot of time we have seen who should be the first author. There a lot of quarreling happen, and we many time even supervisor also don't know whom first authorship should be given. Then sometime research scholars also they don't know where should be his number in the authorship list. And that confusion you can see throughout our Indian scenario in academics. Authorship confusion been always been seen. Nowadays, most of the journals they are giving a guideline who should be the author, what should be the minimum requirement to become an author. That these things are there. Sometimes some students in your laboratory or in your group they are very good in making drafts, and when they are doing draft for anyone's paper, they claim they should be in the list of authors. It is ethically wrong. Sometimes someone who is a friend of your research scholar, he intend you to put his name because he is also putting his name in his publication. That way, co-publications mean you put my name, I will put your name. Such things are spoiling the ethics in research. And another thing is coming, like sometime nowadays people are sending advertisements. Even some groups are there in WhatsApp. They are mentioning that there is one authorship option available. If you are paying, I will give you authorship in my publication. Though such things are nowhere related to ethical conduct, and such practices should be always declined. And we should aware about our students from its graduation level. We need to make them conversion to ethical practices in doing some good draft or writing something which is a publishable. Next is coming is a peer review. You must be knowing there was one story happened in Maharashtra. Several times we get frustrated when you are sending papers for peer review and they reject it. Several times you are getting many rejections and you fed up with, such negative outcome of your research paper. Then one intelligently at one university, intelligently they find one practice for how to cope up with a rejection. They created, means they look at the journal's profile and they found who are the most prominent reviewers of this journal, and they make their fake email IDs and they provide it with their paper as a prospective reviewers. This paper been submitted to the journal, and immediately that emails came to the reviewers. So reviewer already they falsified reviewer email ID. So immediately they tailor-made answer, they put everything and recommended paper. When this comment has reached to the editor chief, he was surprised with one comment, because the guy who has sent this reply was very well-known scientist in Australia, and he was a good friend and classmate of the editor-chief. So editor-chief was knowing the quality of the research, the reviewer. He was knowing how he write. He was knowing what is his interest area. So he was surprised with this. And then he mentioned ki, he sent one mail and he said ki I surprised with your recommendation and your comment, how you wrote like this paper. I don't feel very good, but what comment you made is very difficult. Then that reviewer answered ki what manuscript he is asking about, and then whole story came to light. That was a fake mail. He did all these three reviewers, he made a fake mails for them. A mail has reached to them and he sent a reply, means acceptance, recommended his own papers. Three faculties in a university in Maharashtra. Then what happened, that journal editor chief, he wrote directly to the university vice chancellor ki see such type of researcher are there in your university who are teaching faculties, and they are falsifying everything and overlooking all ethics. So this is not good, and I think your university is not serious about the research ethics. So this is not a good concern. Otherwise we need to write one article about your university in my journal. So either you take strict action or stern action against them, or otherwise we will write something which then don't blame us about the reputation of your university. University vice chancellor immediately came into action and he set one committee, and these three research senior faculties been suspended from the university services. So such things can happen. Another story happened in India is like, it is related to authorship. Sometime what happens, being an assistant professor or being a faculty in the department, to get favored from our colleagues, we put their name in our publications. Same story been happen. One, he consumed manuscript and he put his one of his friend's name who was a colleague in the same college, and they published that article. After publication of this article, everyone is there or not? Can
Yes,
you?
sir. Yes, sir, we are there.
So
Yes, sir.
after
Yes, sir. We are
publication
there.
of this article, the same.
Yes, sir, we are there.
Thank you. So same professor has applied to one of the big university, means his own university, where that college was, is affiliated. He applied for his CS professor's promotion. Fortunately, this when this whole story been reached to the zoology department in the same university, there the head of the department was a wife of one researcher who was a roommate of the researcher who submitted this paper. What happened? They both were a roommate and they were doing contemporary. They were researchers in a university. So what happened? He took some of his photographs, and these photographs were laying with him for years together. And because of his promotion, he want to publish something. He put that figures in a research paper and he's published. And that whole paper has reached to the head of the department, who was very much surprised to looking at the data and everything. He was suspecting the same work my husband is also doing. And then she bring all this data and shown to her husband, who was a classmate to the guy who want to get promotion. So then he looked at that and he said, these are all my own figures. How one can publish like this? And he complained to vice chancellor of that university. Again, committee said, what happened? Unfortunately, that guy been suspended, but he put his friend's name also in the publication as an author. So action been originated against him also, his friend who was nowhere in the picture. But finally, what happened when the committee came and then he mentioned that I have not given any consent to the main author of this paper. He just put my name. I was not knowing this. On that ground, he was safe in his services. But such things can very commonly happen. And at what age he suspended, you will surprise. No, he was about to become a professor. His age was almost 55. So just 5 years of his service was left over. He got suspended and he is no more in the academics now. And he has lost all his service benefits also. So how serious is this area, you can understand. Peer review, I mentioned there also three professors lost their job. Then conflict of interest and obligation is another area where research ethics are very important. For example, I am putting name of my student, my colleague, my my relative, that always put conflict of interest or obligations. Sometimes there are some companies who you compel you to give specific results about something and they want you to publish. That is also coming as a conflict of interest. Sometimes you are getting some funding from XYZ and how to write about XYZ negatively. For example, a municipal corporation is giving you funding and asking them to make a make a like a white paper or report about the environmental conditions in XYZ city, and there you feel like he's a good guy and he's funding me. How I can write negative about the the environmental status report or something? That become like obligations, like things, and you do some favorable things for him. That always coming under the obligations. That's why all publication journals, they are asking you the funding source all the time, and they are asking you make a statement also ki funders are not involved in the research outcome of my study. Likewise, then complicity of funding sources also coming sometime. Complicity means many funding sources you are using just to secure fund. You are getting different sources of funding and don't know what is the objective of your study. Everyone will have different object. When you try to publish such things, one of them can come forward and can sue you, saying that you are not ethically correct in making these claims or something. So complicity should not be there. Usually one funding, one objective, one funding, one research project. In that way, we should be careful about the avoid complicities in funding sources. Animal subject issue is another very well-known issue. You can see lot of time it is happening. Animal subject, or it is called biological also, biological ethics also is been called, or sometime it is also called like a biological safety act. So there are two stories I can share with you, very interesting. When I was doing my Boy Scouts fellowship, that time in same batch, one person from UP, he also joined with me, who he got Boy Scouts fellowship, and we are working together in different universities, but very much connected. While coming back, he has developed a very nice strain of yeast, and he was very tempted ki how I can live it here. I can do my research continuation in India also. So he took few petri plates with him. He packed it nicely and came back India. As he grounded in Delhi airport, while checking by the customs, they found this petri plate. So the custom officer who was inspecting this, he was a microbiologist, and he was knowing what is a violation of biological law. So immediately I asked him few questions, and on biopiracy, he been registered and booked. And that biopiracy is a very serious offense. 7 years imprisonment you can have. The guy has 7 years imprisonment. He was mentioning कि I've been to this research and this doing this and that. They sent one letter to university and were asking कि do you permitted him to do like this? So university administration said no. We just allow him to go for a study leave for doing his postdoctoral fellowship, Boy Scouts. We allowed him. We don't know what he is bringing and what he is doing there. Our concern is not that. We just assigned him a leave and he got a Government of India fellowship. That's why you leave. We are allowed him leave for the period. And that's why we don't have any concern about him. No one has helped him. He was in jail. He lost everything. His wife also left him. So you can see what complications can happen overlooking at the ethics at any stage and any level of ethics. Another beautiful story I must tell you. Unknowingly also, if you are overlooking ethics or doing some misconduct, how it can be heavy for your career. A beautiful example I had when I was working in University of Hawaii. The adjoining professor, very big professor, he was like a Title I professor in the university, always remain busy. He been called for some meeting in New York, and for that meeting he was going. So early morning he came to laboratory to pick up his stuff from the laboratory, like 8:30. Same time what happened, he has orders before that some chemicals to one company. So that guy also came here. And since there was a communication, ki this time I am reaching, you come with your consignment to this time, I will take it. So there was little 5-7 minutes gap. By the time professor took his whole stuff, put in his handbag, and he was about to leave. By the time he just locked his room, laboratory, and he was just near to the elevator. By the time the courier guy came, he said, "You take this." He said, "Already I am late for the flight. Whatever you are having, give me." He signed on the machine and he put whatever he handed over in his handbag and rushed to the airport. This story happened in front of me. He rushed to airport, and then immediately he reached airport and boarded into the flight going to New York. And his flight landed in New York, and as soon as he get out of the airport, means get out of his flight and reach to the channel, immediately whole airport started giving siren for the radiations. So for radioactive substance. So immediately the forces in the airport came into action, and they warn everyone to be at this, wherever you are there, be stand still there only. And they bring their machines to check where is the radiation coming. Finally, they reached to the guy. They checked his bag. In his bag, he was having radioisotopes, which is totally been banned to carry in a normal or passenger public transport services. That guy is still in the jail because he has violated and created threat to n number of human subjects in the US. So he tried everything. Same thing happened there also. He asked university to help him, but university said what he ordered, what he was working, why he's traveling, we don't know anything about him. So it is his whole thing is his personal concern. University is nowhere involved, because putting university in trouble is not advisable to any university or any academic institute. It become his personal crime, and he's still in the jail. So you can see overlooking sometime or doing some misdemeanors may always be dangerous in doing research. That means your ethical depth should be very high, and you should have a common sense about the ethical considerations involved in doing research. Then coming back to human subject research, it is also one of the very high area we are taking so lightly. If you are doing some ethical considerations or doing some work related to human subjects, one should be very careful selecting subjects, getting approvals for that, putting the panels, and always sharing the real information to the participants, whoever human participant, as well as your monitoring committees associated with the ethical practices. Otherwise, that can be a big punishment in Indian court law of law. You can have provisions for big punishment. It can spoil your whole academic career. Now, coming back to the research misconduct, we can have more examples in that, like fabrication, falsification in a proposing or performing research, reviewing research proposals, or in reporting research results. All these things are linked to your falsification or fabrication or plagiarism. For example, someone's research project sent to me, and then I will call him and I will say, "Yeah, I got your research paper, research proposal. I will try to help you." This is also coming as a plagiarism and not fitting into the research, ethical consideration of research. Then research misconduct does not include honest error or difference of opinion. Lot of time I was mentioning you what is called biases. So biases sometimes are called as honest research errors or differences of opinion. Sometimes one data set one is concluding and one way, another is concluding or interpreting in different way. That is not coming under the research misconduct. But for making conclusions convergent, I am changing data, it is coming into the research misconduct. So honest error and difference of opinion, again I must warn you, honest errors and differences of opinion, one should be very careful, because it is a person specific. What committee will consider it as honest error may not be other committee consider it as a honest error. So there is always chance of getting either benefit or getting harm out of the your errors. So one should be always careful in making research errorless or error-free. Then, this story is very important. Ki, whenever you are publishing something, so it is been retracted. So I must tell you the story when it was published in one of the journal. That you must be knowing Jeffrey Bill. If you don't know, you can Google it later on. But Jeffrey Bill was one of the librarian in University of Washington. And he got lot of papers, and since he was librarian, he was understanding how the ethics are very important. And he was basically a person who was developing documents and guidelines for ethics in research. He wrote some books also on that. I met him, Jeffrey Bill, and uh, he he was doing one thing. Ki, how many research falsification or false journals or your predatory journals are there who are publishing different data and papers. So he published one article. It was mentioning about the Wild West, and that Wild West was specifically wrote for India and China, because world's 60% falsified journals coming from these two countries. In these two countries, India is topping. Almost 40% predatory journals are originating from India in any way, in any case, and remaining 20-25% falsified journals or predatory journals coming from the China. When this article was published in Science, I was a postdoctoral fellow that time. I was feeling it, no one should read it and people should not recognize me, I'm Indian, because it was so bad feeling. Doing some misconduct is the most worst side of human mind been considered in European Western world. So uh, these things are very much concerned about the misconduct. Then you can see one thing. There are many people and many independent agencies are working in checking the plagiarism, checking the misconduct in research. So that is called Retraction Watch, is one of the website you can visit. This website, they are very vigilant about the, and it is an independent body been funded out of the donations. So Retraction Watch is retracting so many papers, and they always keep an watch on that. So Retraction Watch, you must not be knowing, but they are creating clear retraction. They recommend retraction also to the journals. They put probable retraction, retraction favoring papers. In that way, they make a lot of list. Sometime you one should go and visit that site to see who are there and who are not there. So that is very important. But these things are very essential. Ki this cartoon is really very much applicable and very much applied to the researchers or academicians in our places here. So there is something very wrong with character if opportunity controls loyalty. That means researchers should not always be opportunistic in doing some things and getting advantage over something where poor data been accepted or overlooked by the editor of journal and been published. So these things should never be there. We should always be fully truthful, and we should always fully like a person who are vigilant for the ethical considerations. There should not be a question of loyalty which has been vanished with opportunity. There are some examples which are related to the research misconduct is a very popularly happening. 90% journals are detecting this is a image manipulation, just playing with the image with your Corel Draw or something. Data fabrication or falsification is another misconduct area. Data omission or suppression, that means not showing which is outlier, or sometimes showing which is not concerned to you, or specifically without doing anything in the lab, desktop publishing like things. These are another areas. Plagiarism from the work of authors could also be idea gleaned from peer review and used as one's own work. I have seen this fourth type of plagiarism is very common in Indian scenario. We guys are very much tempted. If someone is working with elephant, another will start working with the deer. Someone will work with rabbit, another will work with the mice. So that way, no, we start playing. We gain ideas from someone, and then we try to put in our own perspective and pretend ourselves that first time I did, first time this, first time that. Most of our papers you can see they claim about the first time, or first ever record, first ever been done, first ever been detected. Likewise, that first is not having much meaning. How honestly you are gathering data, how honestly you are proceeding with ideas which are very novel, that is very important. But that is missing, in many platforms I have seen. Sabotage is another area. I told you how sabotage can happen. Sabotage is out of rivalry is happening. Sabotage is another example I must tell you. For example, I am working in one area. You are also XYZ is working on same area, but with each other's progress, we start hating each other. And that time, if I'm sending my paper and if it is reaching to the person who is similarly working on that time he will try to put me in negative side. He will give all negative kind of feedback. That is very specifically happening Indian reviewers that I have seen, and I can have many examples with me. So that is also called sabotage. Another sabotage is like damaging someone's experimental setup, damaging someone's computer, damaging someone's e-resources. So that all things are coming about the sabotages. Sometimes poisoning the culture, sometimes contaminating the chemicals. So all these things are coming at the sabotage. Sometimes it is noticed, sometimes not noticed, but this is whatever is happening, it is a misconduct, and that we need to consider. Retraction is very dangerous thing. Once paper is retracted, most of you must be knowing, or if not knowing, what is meant by retraction. I published one paper in a journal, it will available there. When it is retracted, that paper remains there. They don't retract, they put one red line like what I am showing in this slide is retracted. That's it. Means this retracted record will always be there. Once it is retracted, means it is forever retracted, and that will searchable and everyone can see your paper is retracted. It was surprising in 2019, 127 papers from India are retracted, and most of them are for the image duplication and image manipulation. 85 of the paper AP of more paper than 300 scientists from India, biological sciences, appeared in the retraction list in the last 1 year. Means this was the data I was showing in 20 something. And I will tell you, once it is retracted, they start looking at all your papers, what you published. And all papers can be retracted. I am telling this story for one of the big institute in India, CDFD, you must be knowing in Hyderabad, who are from biological sciences. CDFD, it happened with that big scientist and his publication been retracted, and later on all his paper been retracted. He has lost his job, his research scholars, his PhD scholars, as well as his postdoctoral fellow, and some people who got job in other institute also, who were his students, all lost their job. It was a big network been spoiled because of retraction. One should be very much careful. Elizabeth Big is a promoter of retraction watch, and she is doing that, and she is a very honest lady, very vigilant, and she has started this, and a lot of people from the US had supported her initiative for retraction watch, because they always in US society and Western society, people believe research misconduct is the biggest, like assault to the human society. And that's why no one favor this. To stop such type of evils in the society, a lot of people funding this Elizabeth Big, and she is doing honestly in retracting and guiding all people. Research journals and big publication houses are really bother about Elizabeth Big, and they are also by default supporting Elizabeth Big's movement for retraction watch. You must be knowing UGC is having plagiarism related ethical guidelines for the research and research misconduct, everything, which has been published in January 10th, 2020. But I think we are not really accepting it by mind and by heart. It is very essential for us to do this. And some courses also we need to have in these lines. What is meant by retraction? The tip of iceberg I am sharing with you. Very few things. And now I want to tell you one very nice story about my own experience and my own research. We published one paper you can see on the top, which we published in 2028. It was related to reporting one species. And immediately what happened after we published our paper, we published in June, and in 19 October 2009, in 1 year's time, another group from India, they claim that my paper is having methodological flaws, overshadow the evidence for species complex, and they wrote one letter, and that letter to the editor, and editor was very much concerned about this paper. Immediately he asked me, he sent one letter and mail to me. He is asking ki there is a contradiction on your paper, and I'm attaching all the files to you, and there are certain questions they ask about the quality of research you did. So I want whole data, whatever you supported in this. I want everything, lab records, everything we want, and we want to make an independent decision on your methodological flaw in your paper. Fortunately, my laboratory, whoever student is joining, even coming for a week's time also, we give him a laboratory book, and we ask him put every activity every day on that book, and he took at the weekend he should took my signature also. That is a best practice we are following in my lab. So I ask my students the seal, just take all your records, make a copies of this, and whatever critic been wrote on our paper, we need to answer it. Within a hours, 10 minutes time, she bring all data, all records available with us on the paper, and everyone is there, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So she bring all data, everything was with us. We just make a nice, arrangement of all our evidences, whatever we did and what they asked the critic. Every answer we have given with whatever they asked, no, 100 times more evidences we provided for entire data, starting from the research design to the sending the paper for publication, even for the reviewer, responses, everything we sent, and we wrote one very nice response to the critic by the people. In Indian scenario, I told you several times, unknowingly we start blaming, or sometimes we hate each other. In out of that, this publication, the critic been submitted to the journal. When we submitted this data, one fine morning, I got a call from the editorship, and he said, Dr. Khedkar, I'm very happy with your answer, your data, whatever you provided, and I feel proud that we are associated with people like you who published in our journal. We are fully convinced with you. We are publishing as a second paper. As your reply, I am publishing as a paper. Please accept this, and we will give a publication to your response to critic. And you see, surprising, when you are honest with your objectives, freely we got one more publication in my portfolio. So that critic as it is, without wasting a single line. You see, 3rd of December we submitted, and it been published on it been accepted on 8th of December and published online on 20th December. This is a power power of honesty, power of ethically aligned, and power of doing systematic work. So this practice we follow at our laboratory, and now proudly I want to share this story with you. If I would have a single mistake in my data, my student would have done this, I would have in retraction list, and I would have finished my whole career. For the person who don't know about what we are doing in here, I must share with you. I started one big research center here, which been started from the zero. Nothing was with us, but that center now has funds more than 100 crores. We got a huge building, for our research center probably happen very rarely in Indian scenario. I started, you can sometime Google Paul Hebert Center for DNA Barcoding Biodiversity Studies. You will get a lot of information about our center. This center came totally out of my research fundings. Not a single agency is having any negative concern about us. Not a single paper, whatever so far we published over 70, over 100 papers. Not a single paper is having any comment, negative comment in publication scenarios of our whole journey. And that's why I always feel to be authoritative in talking about the research, research misconduct or research ethics. So I happy to share with you. Only purpose to share with you this story is to show what is the power of being honest in research. So really that time I feel like a tiger when we got this publication accepted as a criticism, reply to criticism. So truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it, let it loose, it will defend itself. So these are the things can make you, authority can make you even more determined in doing good research. Now coming back to collaborative issues, authorship, I already told you intellectual property right. If we are working together on some aspect and later on it has been commercialized and you see there are a lot of financial opportunities, people start playing. So for that purpose, initially also making contracts is very important. Rigor with which experiment is conducted, very essential. Rigor is at any cost, it should not be compromised. Good record keeping, as I told you, from the day first I started research, we are having all records with us. Accurate calculations, because later on it becomes so, like, it put you in very different situations. And that's why your calculation and foolish mistakes should always be avoided, because we are researchers. Whenever you are sending a shooting on paper, that time you are at one stage, you can't claim that this my student has done wrong, or this is a master student, or this is a data analyst did something wrong. No, this is totally your responsibility. You can't blame others for mistakes which been proposed by you in your research publication. It is solely your responsibility. So be authoritative in making everything sense making and good. So collaborative issues, you can see some examples. How much time I can talk to you now? Should I conclude or should I go ahead with few things? Like hardly I will
Up
take.
to 6. Up to 6.
Okay, so I am having ample time. I will go with this. Now, collaboration issues, example one, you can see author credit. So, lab chief, program director, technicians, postdoctoral fellow. Many time I have seen people are coming ki since you are a director, you should be the first author. Sometime I have seen I am a research supervisor, I should be first author. And that way people start playing. And students, many time you can see your scholars don't have voices. And he just accept it. This is misconduct of research. Then whoever contributing what way, what is the important, what is main thing in giving authorship, one should understand. First thing is science is all about the idea. So who is generating idea, then who is designing to reach to the idea for his investigation, he should be the second one. Third person should be who is conducting research and helping you doing research. Fourth person is coming who is analyzing your data. That way you can make together. Lab chief or lab technician or program director should not be part of your research many time. Technician always know. Postdoctoral fellow, it is their job to help you or you support your research scholars or research students. So postdoctoral fellow, in some research scholars, research may not be may not be author. Then graduate student, sometime graduates, your research scholar asks graduate student to do something and help in doing research. Sometimes students, they start fighting among them for the authorship. So guide should, or supervisor or the lab chief or the laboratory chief must have all this clarity in mind. Undergraduate research assistant, never be the part of that. Sometimes they help you for analysis, but that is part of their learning. It is not part of your research. Glassware washer, animal caretaker, departmental colleagues, the college at another university's colleague. So depends on how much share he is having in your research. Otherwise, they should not be part of your author's portfolio. But a lot of time you can see if on the grounds of this authorship, you can see many papers can be retracted in India. Then management and access to data. I must tell you one thing, when your paper can put you in trouble, no one knows. And that's why as long as you are in the service, your paper and your data management, access to data, all these things should be maintained. And later on also, in a very safe hands, you should hand over your information or your data, so that after your death or your retirement, someone should not suffer with the conduct you did in your research. That's why, because your students will be much younger than you and they need to pursue their career. So you are retiring means your data is gone and you should not bother. This should not be a true practice. So who owns the data and who can make use of in the future, you should decide it. Can lab notes and materials be taken off site? Do you agree with me? For example, some students are coming to my lab and working with me, and after finishing their PhD, he will say, sir, I want to take this because I want to use this in my future. Should we allow them to take all these lab records? Can
Yes.
anyone answer me?
Yes.
Yes. Can anyone answer me? Should we allow students to take his all lab records?
No, all records are not providing.
Sure. What?
No,
What?
sir.
Pardon me? Should we allow? Yes or no?
No,
No, sir.
sir.
No. Very good. Correct answer. We should never allow them to. If they want, they can take a copy of this, but original record should always be maintained in the lab. Then next thing is coming. What responsibility do lab workers and students have? So there for data handling or maintaining and putting your cultures or whatever information you are having. For example, a social scientist is working and he has created huge data and putting on some university or your departmental computers. So who should handle it and where it should be reposited for forever? That strategy should be there and its responsibility should be fixed even after doing research, after doing everything or publishing also one should be responsible. Nowadays journals are taking one care, they are asking all your supporting information to be uploaded with the journal, so that all things should be available there. Even your laboratory is burning or not working or closed down, doesn't matter, data will be there. So that is the reason nowadays journals are putting all information and asking from your all sources of that. Assistant, how to document in lab work. So many time what happens, uh, in project itself you should make arrangement for documentation and storing of data, so whatever it is, digital or physical data, whatever. So for this purpose one should make arrangement to have some assistants in your project, so that data is nowadays whole societies, or nowadays these economies we are talking, they are data driven. It is real sense, research is also data driven. Research cannot be without data. So why we are giving least importance to data, I don't understand. So for to fulfill all ethical spheres in good conduct of research, these things are very essential and they are inseparable, assets of research. Peer review process. What do you do when you learn something from reviewing a manuscript that could help you your own research? So many time I have seen lot of time now, reviewing manuscript, you can think about your own research and sometime you can hold some such type of misconducts also very common. They hold manuscript and play with their own data and try to submit it, and till that time it will hold like these things. Then what can you do to protect your intellectual property right during the review process? So review process, if you want to have some intellectual property like important data, one should be careful about that. So reviewing process is like a, your whole these data sets will be made available to the reviewers, and you don't know he by face who is your reviewer. So sometime you should be very careful. So later on talking something is not so advisable. Then can graduate student read manuscript on behalf of their professors? How many of you agree with this? Okay, for example, we want to submit one manuscript and then professor is very busy, he will suggest someone ki he will review and then submit. Do it is a good practice? Some intelligent, graduate
Okay.
student is there and he will ask, he will read, if you feel good, then submit. It is a good practice?
No, sir.
It is not a good practice, 100%. Because finally, responsible person is a lab in charge. Then conflict of interest, one's personal interest and from one's professional obligations. So these things can come under the conflict of interest. Being paid to say something untrue. We have means we I have come across with such examples. Some beverage companies came and he was mentioning ki, just we are doing all these good practices, they took us there, they have treated very nicely, and they were indirectly suggesting us ki we should write good about them. So a lot of time we fall prey for such levering obligations. So one should be very careful about this. Then knowing that if you say something positive about a company that gave you a grant, some it we many time we feel fall prey for such type of things is absolutely not ethical. Funding agency may stipulate that they have a right to decide whether you can publish your findings or may delay publication. It is also true. Some funding agencies ask you nowadays that been not in practice, but I have come across with one agency. They were asking ki before publication you will send manuscript to us in India itself, and I was not knowing this practice. So such thing can lead to a lot of severe conflict of interest. Then ghost writing and ghost management in medical literature is rampant and raises these questions. Ghost writing means you write anything and without thinking you can publish it. So these things are very commonly happening, and nowadays, this terminology we need to reconsider what name should be given to this, because in AI you can create anything, you can create any idea, you can make idea legitimate also, because AI is a is a brain of millions, billions of people, and that's why it can generate a nice idea for you. So the sphere of ethical considerations we need to rethink in this present scenario, because AI is there and we need to be careful about that. Conflict of obligations, having duties to two or more parties at the same time. For example, the duty to research and duty to teach. So it is a conflict of interest and conflict of obligation. Not to mention the duty to one's family, friends, and self. Lot of time we have seen ki, in our acknowledgements in thesis or sometime in acknowledgement in papers also, lot of people they mention about their friends or they mention about families, because she was there or he was there, I can do, because of her only I can complete or him I can complete. Like, these things are really not required. Then complicity funding, stem cell research like moral issues beyond scientific misconduct. Complicity of funding is nowadays coming in case of AI also. So paying some grants to AI means getting a subscription, and based on this subscription, writing some manuscript, taking his help. These things are very different. So beyond scientific misconduct can arise depending on one's field of research and funding source. Stem cell research, whether human ethical committee should be there, biological, ethical committee should be there, or what should be there. That is a big question. So these are in between lines consideration. We need to be very judicious and think legitimately. Dual use of biological agents, very important area. Weaponizable. Dual use means what? Like COVID-19, you must be knowing. That was the best example. We were understanding the virus dynamics. For that, lot of agents, virus laboratories working. Leakages happen and it can lead to the pandemics. So that is one thing. Then weaponizable technology, DoD fundings. So Department of Defense funding, I'm talking here. Weaponizable technology, that means creating some harmful microbes and making aware or giving it to defense services. So these are also, complicity in funding. You are a researcher, what is your agenda, what is mandate of your research, accordingly we should work. So if I'm unexpectedly accepting something which is not in mandate of my laboratory, that's why every laboratory must have their mandate, and that mandate should be thoroughly followed so that your sphere of ethics can shrink. Animal subject research, how many animals used in research? What are the arguments for or against them? Are these are there limits to how we might treat them? So all these things coming there. So quick lesson from animal subjects like 3 hours. So these things are very important. Okay. So we should not unnecessarily kill animals or impact on them. One should be very systematic in working this, and maximum out should come after treating animals. I should have a strategy to rehabituate them back, so detoxify, bringing them to normal life. Likewise, what I should do whenever I am making some treatments, animals also equally important, their lives also important. In a ethical scenario, no one is great. Human being means very great and rat means no great. It is not. Equally we are having same rights on this planet, and equally we are getting pains, we are having feelings. Rats are, all type of animals also having feelings, so we must consider this in animals research. Human subjects, may we use human subjects in research? We have to use at the final stage, but how we can reduce their and how minimum effects can happen, that your whole research design should prove it. Under what condition we should use human subjects? Like I told you, a lot of uh, clinical trials been done in poor countries. So these are not ethical, but people are doing it. This Nuremberg Code, the first attempt to answer this question with guidelines for use of human subject of research. So that Nuremberg Code also should be followed in using human subjects. But usually, human subject research should be very rare, and it should be at the very last stage. It should come into picture. Final message: must think about the ethical components of what you do. Rules giving little guidance, no tricky situations. Means on tricky situations. That means it is not written in the rule book. That means I am free to do. It is not like that. Rules are meant to use your common sense and the prevailing practices. But sometimes ethics related to anything should go to any extent, and that you should consider. Learning about research ethics can't motivate you to want to do the right things, but it will give more tools with which to think about difficult situation in the future. So message books sometime people use in a different way. This is a way it is violation. How I can have something where I do something, but a rule violation is there, but I can't, it can be proved. Likewise, we can think. So for that purpose, we need to be very legitimate. We need to be a human being first. And if we are a human being first, then maybe that question may not come. I was mentioning you Wild West, word of open access. Here, largest publication coming from India, then other coming, but that number quantum is very high. 80% are coming from the very serious problems with the country of work. Means people are sitting in US giving address, but their original origin is India. Likewise, the Jeff Bill has published this article. So 1800 researchers from diverse discipline, academics, all these they sent papers, and he evaluated, and then based on that he put this map. This article is freely available in Science. So at the last, I must tell you, your own Chanakya, be intelligent enough to to sense what is ethical, what is not ethical. Do time will change, do technologies will change, but your ethical mind should applicable to any situation, any time frame, or any condition. And that's why I wish you all the best for your research career, research deliberations, and journey of research, so that people should feel proud on you, and we can help it large the humanity for making their life comfortable and considerate. Thank you very much. If you are having some questions, you can get back to me. Or you can ask here also. Later on, you can Google me also, and you can ask questions. A lot of people I can see missing from the board now. Where is serial number 1? Serial number 2, 3, 4. Lot of people I can't see on this. So this is also ethically not correct. Someone is talking and you are missing from the board. With this note, if you are having some questions, we can discuss. Otherwise, I will close down the session. Anyone is willing to ask question? So you are welcome. If not, then I will conclude. Thank you very much for joining this lecture and listening me carefully if you are there in the bracket. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Should I take a leave? Is there someone from the...
Yes, sir. So I'm here to propose a vote of thanks. Respected Director, Professor Dhanashree Mahajan ma'am, and Assistant Director Dr. Mohammad Abdul Rafi sir of UGC Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, and today's afternoon session's esteemed resource person, Dr. G.D. Khedkar sir, distinguished faculty members, and dear participants. As we come to the conclusion of this highly enriching academic session, it is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the Course Coordinator, HRDC, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, and on behalf of all the participants of the 16th Faculty Induction Program. First and foremost, we express our sincere and heartfelt gratitude to Dr. G.D. Khedkar sir, who is a distinguished scientist and academician from the Paul Hurt Center for DNA, Barcoding and Biodiversity Studies, BAM, for delivering such an insightful, informative, and inspiring lecture. Sir, your profound knowledge, vast research experience, and clarity of thought have greatly benefited all of us. The way you connected theoretical concepts with the practical applications made the session extremely engaging and meaningful, especially for our young faculty members. We are truly honored by your presence and thankful to you sparing your valuable time and sharing your expertise with us. Your lecture has not only enhanced our academic understanding, but also motivated us to explore research with renewed enthusiasm. I would like to express a sincere thanks to the HRDC and course coordinator for their guidance, encouragement, and constant support in organizing such a valuable program. Our gratitude is also due to all the organizers and staff members of HRDC for the dedicated efforts behind the scenes. Last but not least, I thank all the participants for their active participation and thoughtful interaction, which made today's session lively and successful. Once again, sir, thank you for your inspiring presence and valuable contributions. We are truly grateful. Thank you, sir.
Madam, one thing I must tell here,
Yes, sir.
there has at all no discussion happen. Interaction also not happen. So
But
this
sometimes,
tailor-made of thanks should not be there. You should be very
yes,
realistic.
sir.
Everyone I'm talking here.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It's like
sir.
a plagiarized talk you are giving.
Yes, sir. But present, yes, sir.
Yeah. So this just take a lighter side. And
Yes, sir.
thank you
Doesn't
for
matter.
your beautiful words.
Thank you,
And
sir.
appreciation also. I must thankful to every one of you. At least most of you were present here for this lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I will take your
Thank
leave.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.